about a mile to the west of here at an old farmhouse that my parents were renting the farm from my grandpa, my mother's dad, and so it was May 31st, 1930.
I was born close to Gerald, Texas, just north of here. And that's about all I know. I'm sure it was in a home, a rented house that my mom and dad rented. I don't know if it was Dr. Whittemeyer or another doctor that delivered me, but that was July 15th, 1935. Oh, I was bashful and shy and, oh, please don't look at me, and things like that. I was always shy when I was younger.
I was not aggressive in high school, and I did not really like school. I mean, I was not a person that liked books. I knew I had to, and I did as much as I had to, and that's all I did. I mean, my grades were in the lower section.
I'm sure there were quite a few people, but I put Little Ma. And that was my dad's mother. She lived with us, and she loved me, and I just loved her. And you know, I could get by with anything with her. And I had a lot of cousins who was jealous. I guess because she came from Germany when she was a year old, and of course she married over here and had 8 children, and then her husband shot himself, and that was during the Depression. Everything was so hard, there was no money, and that's the reason he did. And I still remember that to this day, even though I was only a year old, but I still remember it. But she was the sweetest lady, and she just took care of me, and it was an inspiration, I think she was, to me.
My parents basically, and my grandpa from my mother's side. My grandpa from my dad's side lived with us until he passed away when I was 9. He was 87, I think, when he lived to be an old age for that people of that time, because he was born in Germany in 1852. So he was quite a bit older than me. They just inspired me, and my parents just saw that we got our Christian education, and we had a wonderful life with my mother's side of the family. My dad's side of the family, we were not as close. We were still cousins, but not weekly. We were real close with my mother's family, and that was the Vogler family. And I had 28 cousins, and now we're down to 6, I believe.
Alaska, it was an Alaskan cruise from here to Alaska. Excuse me. And another one was Switzerland, Europe, Switzerland, Italy, Germany, went into Germany for a little bit. And so those are the 2, was very good. I guess just to see that area, where I came from, really.
I would say Alaska first. And what was impressed that I have had that vision in my eye all the time from our trip to Alaska was right after Mount St. Helens had blown its top off, and the airlines drove by to where we could look out and see all of the trees just laid down. And that was a part of getting to Alaska. But then up in Alaska, we fished a river up there where it had these big whirlpools in it, and our guide knew how to row us over them suck holes and everything. I enjoyed Alaska.
And daylight, 24 hours a day.
In Anchorage, one side of the main street is 4 feet higher than the other side. At one time it had been level, and it just came to life for me because when it was happening, I was fishing on Lake Travis with fishing for crappie straight down, and all of a sudden my line started going off to one side. A little bit it came back to the other side, and there was nothing biting on my bait. And I was there fishing straight down, and the whole earth was swaying back and forth to where that. So it just kind of, Alaska brought all of that back to me.
Marrying Marvin. I've known him as long as I've been on this earth. And marrying him, and then coming from very humble means. And he was very ambitious. We moved to Austin, and he started a business, and God just blessed us abundantly.
My biggest thing that happened in my life was also getting married to Marge. I always tell the story that I remember when Fred and Velma came to church with this little baby, and it was her. I was 5 years old, and I knew Fred. I didn't really know Velma, but I knew Fred because my mother's brother, Irvin, had married Martha Snyder, and so I knew, which was Fred's sister. So through that connection, through my Uncle Irvin and Aunt Martha, I knew Fred, and here they come to church together with this little baby, and I've known her ever since. And when she came of age, I was 5 years older, and when she got to be 15, 16, well, she became attractive to me. And she was a beautiful girl.
I would say 1010 County Road 140, Georgetown, right here. We've lived on the farm down that way. We've lived in Austin for a long time at 3 or 4 different beautiful homes, but this is the favorite place.
This is my favorite place too, here, and it's the longest place that we have lived. When we got married, we lived on County Road 150, about a mile and a half northwest of here. And then we moved to Austin on Tisdale. We lived there 10 years, I believe it was 58. Mm-hmm. We lived 10 years on Tisdale. Then we moved to Pony Chase, and we lived
10 years there?
Nearly 11 or 12. 11 or 12 on Pony Chase. Then we moved to Great Hills Drive, and we lived there like 14 years until 94. And then we moved out here in a double wide that we had moved in to live in while we were building this house. And Marjorie did most of the building because I was running a good sized foundation business at the time. So she picked the plans, and I kind of guided which subcontractors we would use or get bids from. She kind of overseen the building of this, and it's been a good place for us to live. 28 years now.
I had my heart set on him for many years. But I think I was 14 or 15 when I thought, he's the one I'm going to marry. I don't know, did you try to run away from me or what?
I don't know. You was young,
Yeah.
and I was a little older, but I was not. I was so happy at home that I was not overly anxious to get married.
Well, at 14 or 15, I shouldn't have.
You know, and her mother and dad did have to. She wasn't 18 yet when we decided we wanted to get married, and her parents did okay and go to the courthouse to get marriage license with us. I don't know how else to say it, but we had known each other, and got the bug finally bit us.
Oh my.
Oh, that was a year or two earlier.
I don't know. Probably you.
Probably. I was more aggressive than she was.
Well, for me, it was from being raised with almost nothing. I mean, we weren't in low poverty, but being farmers, and we just didn't have a lot, to now having almost anything I want, almost.
The biggest change in my income was whenever I decided to go into business for myself in the construction business. Immediately, the first year, I went probably 5 times the income that I had when I was working by the hour. And then I started hiring people and putting them to work and supervising them, and was able to be one of the 1%ers in Austin.
They took me to church and made that the very most important thing of the week, and taught me about the Bible, and we read the Bible every day, and just how to be honest and live like Jesus would like for me to live.
Truthfulness was for both of our families. I mean, you did not even think about telling a lie. I mean, that was going to be hell to pay. You know, I mean, you just came out with it as truthful as you could if you were asked a question.
Just looking back on my grandparents and my parents and the people in my family, you just be honest. Always be honest and treat others as you would like to be treated. You know, like, let's just bring up politics again. So if we don't agree with someone, you don't get angry and walk away.
with my heritage too, it was just part of our whole community here. Was honesty was one of the very first things. Work for what you get. You don't overprice anything and everything. And I know when I was quitting farming, selling out my farm equipment, and going into construction, my mother said, "Be sure you price everything right. I mean, not try to gouge people and stuff like that." And I mean, it was just built into us to do good work for the right amount of money. Not, I mean, that was my heritage. Was you work for it and you try to do value plus work.
I want to be good to others, listen to others. If they have a different point of view, I'd like to hear what they have to say and not get angry. But I would also like for them to do the same to me and leave as friends. You know, if you're Christian, you will do that, I think.
I'm just that one day at a time person, and I just take things and make assessments or judgments, if that's what you want to call them. I don't, it seems like they're not coming to me as clearly as I used to. I am having recall problems on short-term stuff. I can remember all kinds of stuff from when I was a child better than I can what happened 2 minutes ago.
I love Christian music, but not all Christian music. But what we grew up on, just the regular conservative Christian music, and then anything by Elvis Presley and George Strait. All my women live in Texas. All my exes live in Texas. There you go. And Elvis, there's one, Blue Suede Shoes, I believe. I love all the songs that those two did.
I'm not much on the musical end. So, I just never did. I enjoy it, but I'm not tuned properly for that. But How Great Thou Art in a religious type song hits me right in the heart.
The Golden Girls. But not the one that is sexy. I'd like to be the gray-headed grandma.
I guess if I was to star and be like somebody, I'd be a Clint Eastwood. We have a birthday together, 31st of May.
Same year, same day. I wanted to be, when I was growing up, and I still do to this day, a model. I really wanted to be a model. That's never left me. But I always thought, no, I don't have enough money. I'm not pretty enough. I'm too bashful. And the list went on, but that's what I wanted to be and still do.
Marge did hers, but not professionally.
I never modeled.
I had a bunch of closets full of clothes.
Maybe I walked down the street and went to church all dressed up, but that's about as far as modeling I did.
Doug said he had the prettiest mama in school. It's our son.
I took him to school every day and picked him up again. And of course, I never went out of the house without being dressed, completely, makeup on, hair done. I mean, you would have thought I was going to meet the president instead of just pick up my son. So I guess that's what he meant about being proud of me. You have anything to say?
Marge kept herself. I mean, it's sometimes it was a little annoying when I had to wait, but
That's okay. I'm still here. I dislike raw meat, fish, anything. Especially, what do they call that raw meat, raw fish? Sushi. And just raw meat, I couldn't eat. I like my steaks medium rare, but that's as far as it'll go.
somebody trying to force me to eat raw oysters. I would have a hard time with raw oysters.
Me too. And Mom used to eat raw oysters. President Lincoln, President Trump, Vice President Pence, and George Strait.
Grandpa Vogler, my mother's dad.
I would give a percentage to the church, what I consider 10% to the church, and then the rest would go to my great-great-granddaughter, who we have not seen, and then, of course, our grandchildren and great-grandchildren, and children. I have a couple, I guess I could mention. My cousins came over to our house.
My best memories is my dad used to take me fishing, and he had fished all his life, and he wanted to be sure I was educated in how to fish. And he'd even take me out of school. He'd let me skip a day to school if they were going to the Colorado fishing, going up to the lakes to fish. So he'd let me skip a day of school to go fishing with him. And it was, my dad was good to me in that way.
I guess having my children and then my grandchildren were just precious. Then, of course, great-grandchildren come along, and you love them even more. How, I don't know, but you do. And then this little great-great-grandchild, even though we've not seen Findlay, we just know she's just the greatest there ever was.
My biggest accomplishments, as far as I can tell, is being able to help my family financially and spiritually as best that I can. And I'm proud of my family, and they have, I think I've been somewhat of a leadership figure to them, and that's been my goal, is to be in leadership for my family. And I also, somewhere in this documentary, I need to mention my two sisters and my brother, that we were so in tune as a family. I cannot remember of a quarrelsome moment that we ever had. And that is a blessing, to have your brother and sisters all together. And I don't think that any of us have ever quarreled or been jealous of one another. We have all had our nature bred into us, that's the way we are.
If I could just be in casual clothes, very comfortable, be reading a book. I love to read, so I'd love to read and let Esmeralda bring me whatever I wanted to drink, whatever I wanted to eat, and I could just have my day to do what I want to do.
I would like to get to where I feel stable enough and be pain-free enough that I could work in my shop again. On looking back, I regret not finishing high school, not in that I didn't already have and what I thought I had enough knowledge, etc., to be successful, but I missed having graduating class, my senior years and stuff like that, that I think that my brothers and sisters had. They graduated from high school and always had their books and stuff from their classmates, and I didn't have any of that. I kind of regret not having that.
Tell them the reason you quit school.
I quit school. My dad got down with sciatic nerve in his back, and he couldn't drive the tractor. Well, I could drive the tractor and do the farming. I'd been doing quite a bit of it for a year. And my brother was in the occupational service in the Army after World War II, and he wasn't going to get to come home until late in the year, and it was going to be planting time and everything. So I was going to take off for one half a semester and then go back, but I didn't go back. I got very valuable on-the-job training, but I didn't get to the social part of the high school.
I hope that they can remember me, that I loved my family and that I was a Christian. I didn't always show it, but I hope they can remember that I was.
I just want to be remembered that I had dedicated my life towards my family and tried to be a role model in a lot of ways to where that my family would like to work and be prosperous and happy, and basically not have a worrisome type life. And that's what I've tried to do, is tried to be a role model for my family.
Can I say something about Marvin?
I don't know. I don't know if I'm like this.
Well, one day he didn't want to go to school. He said he was sick. He really wasn't sick, but he didn't want to go to school. His dad said, he's going to school. But Dad, I'm sick, I don't want to go to school. His dad picked him up, lunchbox and all, and one hand under his breeches and one on top, and pitched him in the school bus, and there he went. He went to school anyway.
I was not a good pupil, but I didn't get but a couple of spankings in school, paddle.
I was good in school.
She had a funny nickname.
Don't you dare tell him that nickname. Don't you dare.
I don't say it.
Well, our son over here, when he was a little kid, instead of going to the bathroom, you know what he would do? He would walk to the front door, open the door, and pee right on the porch. He did. He'd pee on the front porch. And then he'd turn around and come back in the house.
Brenda, one time, we were going to look at some furniture or something after hours. And it was already maybe 6, 7 years old.
No, I don't think she was 7. She was young.
Maybe 5 or 6. And she did not want to go. And Marge fought her getting the clothes on. She'd yank it back off, and Marge would put it back on.
All the way from North Austin to almost South Austin.
It was a mess. I mean, that girl, headstrong.
She was headstrong then, she still is. I fought with her until we got her out of the car, and I had to put her clothes on when I was out of the car. And then she cried going in the store, but she didn't take her clothes off in the store. Brenda, she's very good with numbers.
She set up our first old computer for us. We bought a big old Wang when it was about bigger than a wash machine, you know.
Well, as big as a washer and a dryer combined.
Yeah, something like that. And had to have a special room. And Brenda had taken a little bit of computer stuff at Texas University, and she set up our whole business on the computer, with every dollar going here, there, and yonder, and percentages of what it made and everything like that. I mean, Brenda could be a genius or an idiot, either way that she wanted to go or went. And she was finally diagnosed as being bipolar, and she still has problems with doing impulsive decisions.
Very bright. And Doug, you know, he was a long haul, what do you call him?
Trucker.
Long haul trucker. Mm-hmm. And he would pick up for H-E-B or any of the grocery stores from California to New York to anywhere in the country. And he was very good at it, if you can imagine a trucker, but he was very good at it. Remember when he had this accident out here that was his, the other guy's fault? The other guy said, "You didn't stop." Well, Doug always stops, because, you know, when you learn that when you're a trucker. You come to a complete stop. Even if you see no one coming, you come to a complete stop. And the other guy just went on through, of course hit Doug, but anyway. I don't know. And he loves to garden, he loves to do woodwork, and our daughter loves to do cards and crafts, and you know, she's very good at things like that. I would like for my grandkids and great-grandkids, great-great and great-great-great, to all know Jesus and to place themselves into church at least once a week, learn the Word of God, read the Bible daily, and just follow Jesus.
I would second that. That's my hope for my family, is that they will stay in the Christian faith with Jesus the center point. I hope that they can all find pleasant occupations that I know that I was blessed with always doing things that I like to do, and I hope that my children, great-grandchildren, and everything can always find something that's meaningful and lawful and rewarding, because a job well done, it gives you a lot of satisfaction.
But always put Jesus number 1 and abide by the law, I would say number 2. I love y'all. Y'all take care, and we'll see you in heaven someday. And Finley, I hope we get to see you before we go to heaven.
I love all of my family, and I love have been part of the family, my extended family. I'm real proud of my family, and that's my brothers, my sisters, my uncles, my aunts, my nieces, nephews,
But our children and grandchildren and great grandchildren first.
just the whole family. I mean, I've been part of a blessed family. Bye.
Bye. Love you.